Much easier to stitch if you can use a stitch pony. But with it being such a short piece, it's not really worth me setting it up. Now some people tie, and some people just melt, and some people tie and melt. More recently I started tying and melting. I'll show you what I mean. So I've just tied it, trim a little bit off, leaving a little bit there, and then if I can find it, use a lighter, and you melt those stubs and flatten them down. There we go. And the only thing I'll do for that now is I'll just get a hammer and hammer that flat so the stitching's a bit flatter. The way I've laid it out there, it gives you an idea of how it's going to be. Now these straps right now, you can see, are actually way longer than they're going to be. Going to take off about 2 inches, I would imagine, when it's finished. So I'll just stitch those two on there. And there it is. All the big straps on. So these are the two that are going to have the buckles on. These two. This one will have like a little stud that it pops over. So I can either have it very tied up or just a little. Right. Now, remember these that were wet and we folded the edges, so they look quite rough at the moment. Well, they will go here, and when they're actually stitched on, it'll look quite cool. So let's go. These bits are quite fiddly. It's like a little skirt that goes, you have to stitch to the edge of the end cap. And we can catch on everything. So that's basically it. Stitch it like that. There's always one. There it is. All stitched together. That's pretty cool. That's the end, one of the end pieces. Now I have to take one of these and stitch it on there like that. And now we're sticking that on there. I've already put the D-ring on so that I don't forget. I'm going to stitch the small holes. There's 2 sets of holes. So we stitch the small one in first, and then we'll fold that over and stitch that on there as well. And the D-ring will sit on the top like that. Very therapeutic doing hand stitching. Very. It didn't hurt your fingers so much. I could do it all day, but it does hurt your fingers. You're doing that all the time. Is that one through there? Pull them tight. And now we're stitching the outside one again. Do. Can't help but hum when you're enjoying yourself. Yeah, I've been doing this all day now. My hands are starting to get a little bit tender. We're nearly there, a few more stitches, pull that tight. Oops, that goes through there, back, and back through there. That goes through there. Pull it all tight. And that is it. The D-ring on the top there. Okay, just finish this off now. This is what I was saying about, first of all, I tie it. Now, as I said before, some people don't do this. Some people just tie it, some people just melt it. I used to just melt it, but now I do both. Why not? Get a lighter. Angle it so you don't burn everything, and just melt it down, and it's only wax, so you just do that with your feet. It's not plastic, it's just wax. As you can see, both ends are now done, and it's just a matter of get them on the actual the actual bag itself. So that will be folded round like that, and then that will fit in there like that. Can you see it? Yes. Well, you get the idea anyway. One at either end. You can see here I put some clips on the side. There's like 6 holes. 3 there, 3 there. Bring it round together and use a clip over the first 2 holes, because all I'm stitching is the back 4 holes for now, like I've done there. Because these 2 holes here will be stitched to the end piece when that fits in there. that's all stitched on. Got these two connected now, there and there, but I've left one hole at the end on both ends, so that we take these that we made, I'm going to put those in there and stitch that all together. So I'll have one at that end and that one at the other end, and then that comes over there. We'll have a little stud in this hole here, so that will go onto there, and then these straps will come through the bike, through the piece on the seat, over the top, through there, and then fasten on there once we've finished it. Okay, let's do that. Right, the first end piece is going on using a saddle stitch, which I've been using, I use mostly on most of my projects. It's a really good locking stitch. So it's just a slow process now, just threading it through, putting another one through, spin them around each other like that, around, and pull them through, and they'll lock. And that's how it's going on. It's looking quite good, I think. Right, let's get this to the end. There's a lot of stitching involved in most of the projects. Obviously there's a bit more in the bigger ones. It's going to hurt your fingers no matter how much there is. Just got to keep going. But one tip is, when you're stitching, pull it through like this till it touches, and then just go and do another stitch. Don't pull it tight, just do another stitch. Do the same again. And same again. Now I usually do this about 4 times, as I think I might have mentioned before. It's all good information. And then when you've done about 3 or 4, then pull it tight, really tight, hard, and it'll pull all them stitches tight on one pull. One pull. I used to stitch every single stitch and pull it tight, and this thread will cut right through your fingers. I've had it right down to the bone before now, and I was wondering why all my white stitching was looking pink, but the thread was actually going through my finger, and that's why it was turning pink. Right, we're nearly there, and we'll see it again when I get to the end of the stitching.